Hare Krishna, Prabhupada, First of all, my sincere apologies for being late. The flight was 1 hour late, and when I reached Coimbatore, it was raining also a little. But no, when I reached, it was not raining. So I thought Krishna is very merciful. It's not raining, I was completely dry. And just before we reached the hotel, it started raining very heavily. And so thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to glorify Krishna. And I was telling this time that it's a bit embarrassing for me. Rajendra Prabhu is here as such a senior devotee. The Maharaj used to call him walking Bhagavatam and sitting in front of him and giving the class. It's a bit embarrassing, but Prabhuji, please allow me.
Actually, I am first time I am going to hear it. I am going an opportunity.
Over the last 2 years, since I lost my job, the things have been very turbulent, so I am not able to cope up with the pressure in my office, and the sadhana has been very much irregular, or whatever you want to see. But anyway, this was really good, and more than the rest, I was excited to see a number of devotees here. But when I came here, I saw Anashakti Prabhu, and that was a bonus for me. I did not expect, but really nice Prabhu. So we will have some time. Now at the airport I have seen the fast track. When you are in rush, you can follow the fast track. So today, this morning also I believe that we are late. So I have to do the fast track now. So I have to quickly do Katha Glorify the Lord. So we will take a one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. I will be taking one verse from the 8th and 9th chapter, it's 28 in the verse. This episode is called Churning the Ocean. It's a very beautiful episode and very inspiring also. A lot of learnings are there. And the verse which we are going to take, that is the second last verse in the episode. And in the background, as you know, that once demons became very powerful and they started killing demigods with serpent weapons. And at the same time, the demigods, they were cursed by Durvasa Muni. And why were they cursed by Durvasa Muni? Because Durvasa Muni was returning from a temple with a garland around his neck, which was offered to the Lord. And on the way, he saw Indra on his elephant, Airavat, and he took out his garland and gave to Indra to wear it as a prasad from the Lord. But Indra was so much puffed up with his opulence that he did not realize the value of the garland. So immediately he removed the garland and threw it on the neck of the elephant. Again, the elephant is an animal, he did not understand the value, and he threw it from his trunk and crushed under his feet. So that made Durvasa Muni very angry, and he cursed him that you will be bereft of all the opulences. So one side they were being attacked by the serpent weapons, and other side they did not have any opulence. So they discussed among themselves and they decided to approach Lord Brahma, who is the great grandfather, the first living entity in the universe. So the quality of the demigods is that whenever they are in danger, the only thing they do, the first thing they do, immediately they approach the authority, which is Brahmaji. They will not go to the Lord Krishna. They will approach the authority, which is Brahmaji. And the nature of Brahmaji is that whosoever comes to him with any difficulty, immediately he will go to the Shiva and pray to the Lord. So same thing Lord Brahmaji did in this event also. Immediately he took all the demigods to Lord Vishnu on the Shiva and he started praying to the Lord. And he recited very nice prayers and he pleased the Lord with his prayers. And the Lord appeared before them, and Lord suggested them that you have a truce with Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj is the demons. Now it was a very difficult task to have a truce or the friendship with somebody who has been killing the brothers and sisters of the demigods. But again, the nature of demigod, they always follow the authority. So they said, fine, we will have the truce with Bali Maharaj. So they approached Bali Maharaj and said, hey, this is what has been told by the Lord. We want to have a truce with you, and then we want to churn the ocean so that we will get the nectar. And we will share the nectar 50-50%. So the Lord said, this I have been very much upset, every now and then you come to me that this time, that time the demons are attacking us, killing us. So better you have something permanent by which you become immortal. And Bali Maharaj, when he heard the proposal, he was wondering, that how come the demigods have come to me to share the nectar. But that in the mind of Bali Maharaj was that, see, these demigods are already very weak, let them churn the ocean, and whatever nectar we get, we will take 100%. That was in his mind. So he also accepted the proposal, and they, both the parties pulled the Mandarachal mountain to churn the ocean as it was advised by the Lord. But the Mandarachal mountain was so heavy, it was heavier than the gold, and then they couldn't bear the weight, and they, on the way they collapsed. Then the Lord intervened, and he through his glance, he made all those demigods and demons who had died because of the weight of Mandarachal. He brought them back to the light, and he himself lifted the Mandarachal and took it to the spot where the journey had to be done. And then he sent the Garuda back, because Garuda cannot be there when Vasuki is there. Vasuki has to be brought in. So Vasuki was brought in, and the journey had to be started. And that time the Lord got the mouth of the snake along with the demigods and gave the tail to the demons. But the demons, all the time, so they want to do the opposite what the Lord wants them. So the Lord was holding the mouth, and the demons say, no, we want to hold the mouth. And Lord was holding the mouth because the mouth is a very dangerous portion of the snake. And Lord knew that when the ocean will be churned, with the heat of the churning, the snake will start throwing the poison. But anyway, the demons wanted to hold the mouth, so they were given the mouth, and the churning started. And as you know, the churning started, the first thing came out from the ocean was the poison. And the poison was taken by the Lord Shiva, and after that, the cow came, which was taken by the saints, and then after that, horse came, which was taken by our Bali Maharaj, and then Lakshmi Ji came, and after that, the Mantri Bhagavan, he himself appeared with the pot. But that time the demons could not control themselves, and they snatched the pot from the Mantri Bhagavan and started fighting who will win the nectar first. And that time the demigods were morose, and again they looked at the Lord, and Lord said, don't worry. And he intervened, and he appeared again in the form of Mohini. And he appeared in the form of Mohini, and he got an agreement with the demons that whatever he does will be acceptable to them. And he started distributing the nectar. And he distributed the nectar to the demigods and demons. They did not get anything. So this is the background of the 4 chapters. Now the verse comes which explains like whatever happened with the demigods and whatever happened with the demons, why did it happen? And this is the second last verse in the episode, and it's very inspiring verse. So we will set the verse and read the translation purport, and we will have a discussion on that. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Bhakti
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 9, verse number 28. Evam,
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 surasura,
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 ganaha, ganaha, evam surasura ganaha,
evam, surasura, ganaha,
samadeshakala,
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 evam surasura ganaha samadeshakala,
evam, surasura, ganaha, samadeshakala,
evam surasura ganaha samadeshakala,
evam, surasura, ganaha, samadeshakala,
hetu
eko,
hetu
eko,
artha karma karma matayo api amritam
amritam,
tatraamritam
amritam,
suragana phalam anjasapur evam surasura samadeshakala,
evam, surasura, ganaha, samadeshakala,
हेत्वर्थ कर्म मतयोऽपि फले विकल्पः,
कर्ममतयो विफले विकल्पः,
तत्रामृतं सुरगणः फलमञ्जसा कुरु,
तत्रामृतं सुरगणा फलमञ्जसा कुरु,
तत्रामृतं सुरगणः फलमञ्जसा कुरु,
तत्रामृतं सुरगणा फलमञ्जसा कुरु,
पाद पंकज रज श्रयणा दैत्या एवं सुरासुरगणः समदेशकालः,
एवं सुरासुरगणा समदेशकालः,
हेत्वर्थ कर्म मतयोऽपि फले विकल्पः,
कर्ममतयो विफले विकल्पः,
तत्रामृतं सुरगणः फलमञ्जसा कुरु,
तत्रामृतं सुरगणा फलमञ्जसा कुरु,
यत्पादपङ्कजरजः श्रयणाग्न दैत्यः, यत्पादपङ्कजरजः श्रयणाग्न दैत्यः,
एवं सुरासुरगणा समदेशकाल
एवं सुरासुरगणा समदेशकाल,
कर्ममतयोऽपि फले विकल्पः
कर्ममतयोऽपि फले विकल्पः,
तत्रामृतं सुरगणा फलमञ्जसा
तत्रामृतं सुरगणा फलमञ्जसा कुरु,
यत्पादपङ्कजरजः श्रयणान्नदैत्या
यत्पादपङ्कजरजः श्रयणान्नदैत्या,
एवं सुरासुरगणा समदेशकाल,
एवं सुरासुरगणा समदेशकाल,
कर्ममतयोऽपि फले विकल्पाः,
कर्ममतयोऽपि फले विकल्पः,
तत्रामृतं सुरगणा फलमञ्जसा
तत्रामृतं सुरगणा फलमञ्जसा कुरु,
पादपङ्कजरजः श्रयणानदैत्या,
यत्पादपङ्कजरजः श्रयणाग्न
सुरगणाफलमञ्जसाको
यत्पादपङ्कजरजः शयनान्नदैत्याः
यत्पादपङ्कजरजः शयनान्नदैत्याः
Mataji. Mataji, कैसे?
एवं सुरासुरगणा समेशकाल
कर्ममतयोऽपि फले विकल्पाः
कर्ममतयोऽपि फले विकल्पः
तत्रामृतं सुरगणाफलमञ्जसाको
तत्रामृतं सुरगणाफलमञ्जसाको एवं सुरासुरगणा समदेशकालः एकवत्तकर्ममतयोऽपि फले विकल्पाः तत्रामृतं सुरगणाफलमञ्जसाको यत्पादपङ्कजरजः शयनान्नदैत्याः
एवं
thus
Sura,
Sura,
the demigods,
the demigods,
Asura Ganaha, and the demons, Sama, equal, Desha, place, Kala, time, Hetu, cause, Artha, objective, Karma, activities, Mataya, ambition, Abhi, although one, Pale, in the result, Vikalpaha, not equal, Tatra, thereupon, Amrita, nectar, Suraganaha, the demigods, Phalam, the result, Anjasa, easily, totally, or directly, Apuhu, achieve, here, because of Ar Pankaja, of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Rajaha, of the saffron dust, Sharna, because of receiving benedictions or taking shelter, not Daityaha, the demons. Translation: the place, the time, the cause, the purpose, the activity, and the ambition are all the same for both the demigods and the demons. But the demigods achieve one result and the demons another. Because the demigods are always under the shelter of the dust of the Lord's lotus feet. They could very easily drink the nectar and get its result. The demons, however, not having sought shelter and the lotus feet of the Lord, were unable to achieve the result they desired. Purport by His Prime Krishna Prabhupada, Jai Shri Prabhupada. In the Bhagavad Gita 4.11, it is said, Ye yada mam prapadyante tam sadevi bhajamiham. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Judge who rewards or punishes different persons according to their surrender unto His lotus feet. Therefore, it can actually be seen that although karmis and bhaktas may work in the same place at the same time with the same energy and the same ambition, they achieve different results. The karmis transmigrate through different bodies in the cycle of birth and death, sometimes going upward and sometimes downward, thus suffering the results of their actions in the Karam Chakra, the cycle of birth and death. The devotees, however, because of fully surrendering at the lotus feet of the Lord, are never baffled in their attempts. Although externally they work almost like the karmis, the devotees go back home, back to Godhead, and achieve success in every effort. The demons or atheists have faith in their own endeavors, but although they work very hard day and night, they cannot get any more than their destiny. The devotees, however, can surpass the reactions of karma and achieve wonderful results even without effort. It is also said, Phalena Parichiyate. One's success or defeat in any activity is understood by its result. There are karmis in the dress of devotees, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead can detect their purpose. The karmis want to use the property of the Lord for their selfish sense gratification, but a devotee endeavors to use the Lord's property for God's service. Therefore, a devotee is always distinct from the karmis, although the karmis may dress like devotees. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 3.9, Yajna karmano anyatra, loko yam karam bandhana. One who works for Lord Vishnu is free from this material world, and after giving up his body, he goes back home, back to Godhead. A karmi, however, although externally working like a devotee, is entangled in his non-devotional activity, and thus he suffers the tribulations of material existence. Thus, from the results achieved by the karmis and devotees, one can understand the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who acts differently for the karmis and jnanis than for the devotees. The author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita therefore says, Krishna Bhakta Nishkam, Ateva Shanta, Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami, Sakali Ashanta. The karmis who desire sense gratification, the jnanis who aspire for the liberation of merging into the existence of the Supreme, and the yogis who seek material success in mystic power are all restless, and ultimately they are baffled. But the devotees who does not expect any personal benefit and whose only ambition is to spread the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is blessed with all the auspicious results of Bhakti Yoga without hard labor. Prabhupada ki
Jai.
So Prabhuji, this verse is just the second last verse of the full episode, and it's the instructive verse. And in this verse it is said, Evam Surasur Gana Samadesha Kala Etvakata Matiyo Vipale Vikalpa. So Evam is concluding, now Shri Goswami is concluding, and he said like this, Evam Surasur Gana. Gana means, more than one Sura and Asura, all the demigods and the demons. Samadesha Kala Hetva Takar Mati Uparikalpa. He said there were 6 things equal in a given situation. Desh, Kal, Hetu, Karam, Samad, Desh, Kala, Hetu, Artha, Karam, Mati. The 6 things were equal. But still, Phale Vikalpa. Still, the results were different for the demigods and the demons. And why were they different? It's given in the 3rd and 4th line. So let's start from the first line. It is said, Evam Sura Sura Gana. So Sura and Asura. Now who is Sura and who is Asura? Now as per Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, if you look at the Bhagavad Gita first, in the 16th chapter, the Lord Krishna talks about the qualities of the demigods and the qualities of the demons. And when he talks about the qualities of the demigods, what is the first quality of the demigod? The people who have the divine qualities. The first quality of a person with the divine quality is Abhayam. Abhayam means fearlessness. And how the devotee gets the fearlessness? The devotee gets the fearlessness simply by taking the shelter of the Lord. Narayana Parasarve. That anybody who is taken the shelter of the Lord, then where is the fear? And Narayana Parasarve, it looks like, it's very difficult to surrender to the Lord and become fearless. But Maharaj always used to quote one verse from the Valmiki Ramayana. Maharaj used to say that Sakar Deva Prapanaya. तवस्मि इति च याजते अभयं सर्वभूतेभ्यो ददामि एतत् प्रथमम्. What Lord Rama has said, that Sakradeva Prabandhaya tavasmi iti च याजते, that if anyone approaches to me just one time, and just one time he says that tavasmi iti ch yajate, that my Lord, I am yours, then what the Lord will do? The Lord says, abhayam sarva bhutebhyo dadami etat prathamo. Then I will make that person free from fear, from all the living. Bhuta means not only the human beings, any kind of living being. The person will become fearless. We know the episode of Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad when Lord Narasimhadev appeared. Everybody was scared to go near the Lord. Even his wife himself refused. She did not dare to go in front of the Lord. But that time, who could dare to go in front of the Lord? Who was fearless in that situation? It was Prahlad Maharaja. And that's the quality of the devotee. And the same episode in the 5th chapter, Prabhupada is quoting one verse from the Padma Purana. And Padma Purana, it is said that there are two classes of people in this world. One is the devotees and one is the demons. Or there are demigods and the demons. And who is the demigod, who is the demon? It is said very clearly in the Padma Purana that anyone who is a worshipper of Lord Vishnu, he is a demigod. And anyone other than the worshipper of Lord Vishnu, even if he is a worshipper of other demigods, then he is considered as a demon. And Prabhupada gives the example of Ravana and Hiranyakashipu. Ravana was a great devotee of Lord Shiva, but still, what is his position? Demigod or demon? Still he is considered Asura. Same thing, Hiranyakashipu, he was a very great devotee of Brahmaji, but still he is considered an Asura. So that's the first thing about Sura. So here in this episode, we will see in a while that how the Suras, they manifested these qualities. And then we will talk about Asura. So Asura is not it's not always the man-eater Rakshasa. Asu means Pran. Asu means our body, life. And Ra means Ramante. The person who wants to enjoy his body, wants to enjoy his senses, who is always thinking about his senses, sense gratification, then he is considered Asura, not necessarily a man-eater. And in our case, all the times the demonic nature keeps overcoming us. No, we have the divine nature. Everybody is the divine nature and the demonic nature. But this divine and demonic nature all the times have the fighting. So a lot of the times the demonic nature keeps overcoming us. And whenever we think about senses, our sense gratification, then the demonic nature will overcome us. Like in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, the Arjuna was overcome by the demonic nature. He was thinking about what? He was thinking about his own sense gratification. Although externally it looks like that he was talking about his grandfather, guru and so and so. But at some point he says that even if we get this victory, even if we get this kingdom, how it's going to bring the happiness to us? How it's going to bring the happiness to us? So that means he was thinking about his own sense gratification. In the Bhagavad Gita 16th chapter, all this titled Divine and Demonic Nature. But divine qualities, Krishna speaks only 4 or 5 verses. Demonic, the rest of the chapter is the demonic. And when Lord Krishna starts talking about the demonic nature of people, what did he say? Pravritincha, nivritincha. The very first quality of the people who are the demonic nature, they do not know what to do. Do or not to do it. Like Arjuna at the beginning of Asura achieved sadhana. That he did not know, he was completely degraded. What to do, what not to do. And again, why do we come to that situation? That as soon as we think about it, Dhyaya Vishya, as soon as we think about the sense of that satisfying our senses, then Samma Smriti Vibrama. Then our memory is lost, our intelligence is lost. We do not know what is right, what is wrong. Arjuna's position, right? Riti, she was so much infatuated with the sex desire that he wanted to have the progeny in the evening. Although her husband was warning her. But what happened? She could not control her. And then the two children they got, they were what? Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyakashipu, right? Similarly, in this episode, we will see that Mohini, Lord, he appeared in the form of Mohini. Now, the objective of the demons was to get the nectar pot, right? And the nectar pot was in their hand. But just by seeing the beauty of the Mohini, the beauty of woman, they got so much bewildered that they decided to hand over that pot to that woman. And although the woman was warning, Mohini Devi said, that I am a prostitute. Why are you prostitute? And they said, no, we are joking. How can you prostitute, right? So why? Because they did not know what to do, what not to do. They had achieved their objective. But this is pollution. And another reason we do not know what to do, what not to do, and our intelligence is not connected to Krishna. Nasticha buddhi yuktasya, what is that in Bhagavad Gita? There is a verse in. Yeah, right? So the intelligence, anybody whose intelligence or anybody who is not connected with Krishna cannot have transcendental intelligence. And not transcendental intelligence means all the times he would be wondering what to do, what not to do. He won't have the Vyavasaya to come with him. His intelligence is not reversed. Bhausaki and Antarshya. His intelligence will be given here and there. So, Pravrityucha, they will future. Janana, Vidrasya, they do not know what to do, what not to do. And the another quality or the characteristics of the demons, na shaucha. Na shaucha means they are not clean. Cleanliness is so important that it can put us, it can change our category, it can put us from the category of demons to the category of demigods. This is a very big difference. Once a person asked Srila Prabhupada, is cleanliness next to godliness? Prabhupada said no. Cleanliness is godliness. In Garuda Puran, Lakshmi ji, she mentions, she tells us 5 things. And she says that if anybody does these 5 things, even if that person is my husband Vishnu is there, I will give up that person. Means Lakshmi ji is ready to give up a person even if the person is her husband, if he does 5 things. And what are those 5 things? What are those 5 things? The very first thing, one of the things, looks very simple. But Lakshmi says, anybody who keeps his teeth dirty, even if he is my husband, I won't be with her. Second, anybody who regularly wears dirty clothes, then I am going to give up that person even if he is my husband. Third thing she says, anybody who sleeps during Sandhya time, in the morning and in the evening and the afternoon 12 o'clock, then I am going to give that person. And the fourth thing she says, that anybody, Atyahat, Mahaprasad Govind, waiting for 11 o'clock. So anybody who overeats, even if he is my husband, right? If you offer prasadam to Krishna, bhoga to Krishna, and Krishna overeats, then Lakshmi ji says, I am going to give him water. And the fifth thing is anybody who speaks harsh words, anybody who speaks harsh words, then even if that person is my husband, I won't be staying with that person. So this is another characteristic of the demonic people. And then achara. Achara means, again, their behavior is not proper, as Prabhupada says. And why their behavior is not proper? Because they don't study the scriptures. It is the scriptures who tells us, Tasmada Shastra Pramanante, Karya Karya Vyavasthito. It is our scriptures who tells us what we should do, what we should not do. And if we do not read the scriptures, if we do not study the scriptures, then again we will be only will continue to be in the category of the demons. So even Surasur Gana. So there were two kinds of people in the churning of ocean. Right? Who churned the ocean? The Sura and Asura. Demigods and the demons. So when they were churning the ocean, the 6 things were equal that time. Or you can say whenever we do an activity, we have to have those 6 things. And what are those 6 things? The first thing is Sama is equal. Desha. Both the parties, they churned the ocean at the same Desha. Place was same. The Shiv Sagar, right? Both went to the Shiv Sagar and churned the ocean. So if we do the things in a different place, we get the different results. For example, if you sow the seed in a barren land and sow the seed in a fertile land, the results will be different. You chant in the temple, you chant in the forest, the results will be different. Many times we think that we go to the park and chant the rounds. That's good. Many times we do it, even I do. But once the devotee asked Prabhupada, that Prabhupada, what's the difference between chanting in the jungle or forest and chanting in the temple? So Prabhupada said, the jungle can be maximum in the mode of goodness, but the temple is beyond the mode of goodness. And you want to achieve, you want to reach beyond the mode of goodness. So that's why you should try to chant your rounds as much as possible, sitting in front of the Lord. So if the Desha is different, place is different, then we get the different results. Leaving the body in a city and leaving the body in Vrindavan, both are different. Results are different. But here, the place was same, but still Phali Vikalpa, both were different results. So Desha was same, Kala, the timing was same, both were churning the ocean at the same time. And again, if the Kala is different, we can see we have a different results. Like we talked about the example of Diti. The people who leave the body at different points of time, the yogis, they control their breath to leave the body at different time. Why? Because they know the result will be different. They chant in the morning, goodness, the result is different. Afternoon, results are different. Evening, results are different. And Prabhupada says, chanting even in Satyuga and Kali-yuga both are different. Many times we think that chanting in Satyuga was better than chanting in Kali-yuga. But Prabhupada said no. Chanting in Kali-yuga is more potent than chanting in Satyuga. So if the time is different, then we will have the different results. But how about the time is same and still the result is different here, like in this case, Phali Vikalpa. The Samadesha Kala, then Hetu. Hetu, what was the objective? What was the objective of both the parties? Both the parties wanted to have the nectar. And if we have a different objectives, we know. Artha, for any activity, we need Artha. Artha means Lakshmi, money, right? So in the beginning, Lord had told demigods that during the churning of ocean, whatever you have got, grass, vegetables, fruits, flower, you should throw in the ocean. And even now we see this is a custom that whenever we go to take bath in the river and ocean, or whenever we pass by river and ocean, we throw some coins and something in the ocean as an honor to the demigod. So both the parties, demigods and demons, they said, okay, this is the last opportunity. Because now we are going to get nectar, and then once we get the nectar, we will be immortal. So whatever they had, they threw everything in the ocean. And but still, the results were different. So he Samadesh Hetu Artha. Then Karam, the Karam, see, if we do the different activities, different karmas, we get different results. We don't need to explain. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 5th canto, if you go, it's said, that you do different activities, you get different bodies, right? You get different results. But here, both were churning the ocean. Both put their best efforts. But still, Phali Vikalpa. And finally, Mati. Mati means Mati means intelligence, it means memory. Or in case of Bhishma episode, Srila Prabhupada translates it, thinking very, feeling very. Means they had invested their total energy, their thinking, feeling, everything, whatever they had. Forget about the money and all. Means even beside. Somebody will wonder that probably demigods may have put extra efforts. So they could get the nectar, and demons could not get the nectar. But here Shukdev Goswami clarifies in the third line in the end. He says, Tatkalam Ratam Suragarnaha Phalam Anjasapur. Phalam means fruit, Anjasa means very easily. And Prabhupada, Prabhupada here in the equivalents, he translates it, he says, Anjasa means easily. It means totally and it means directly also. And all the three things fit very well in this situation, if you look at it. So easily, how the demigods got the nectar easily. How the demigods got the nectar easily? Because the Lord himself, brought the pot of nectar to the demigods. The demons, they were fighting. They snatched the pot from the Lord, from the Dhanvantari, and they were fighting for the nectar. But the demigods did not have to fight, did not have to do anything. So very easily they could get the nectar. And the totally means the whole nectar. The whole nectar was distributed to the demigods. Although in the beginning the agreement was 50-50, but the Lord had decided no, that the demons should not get the nectar, because the demons have got attitude like a snake. So if you feed the snake with the milk, what will happen? The snake will become more poisonous. And even in the beginning itself, when the Lord was talking to the demigods, the Lord had told them that you engage the demons for churning the ocean. So they will also contribute, they will put their labor into churning the ocean, but they will not get any nectar. So even the beginning itself it was decided that the demons are not going to get any nectar. And Rahu, although he tried to cheat and had some sip of nectar, but the Lord was very careful and he chopped his head, so he could not swallow the nectar. So totally the whole nectar was given to them. Demigods. And directly means the Lord himself brought the pot of nectar to the demigods. Now throughout the episode, see, Lord Krishna has got so many names there. But here Shukdev Goswami is using one name of Krishna throughout the episode, and that name is Ajita. Ajita means the person who cannot be conquered by anyone. It was very easy for the Lord to kill the demons. It was very easy. See, Dhanvantari is so powerful, right? It was very easy. It is in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukdev Goswami is describing the bodily features of Dhanvantari Bhagavan. And as it is described that he is a stout, very stout personality. And again he is a personality who manifests all sorts of medicine. But still the point it is made, that it was Lord Vaishya, right? That he allowed the demons to take the pot of the nectar. So it was Lord himself who brought the pot of nectar to the demigods and gave it to them. So here, Phalam Anjasapura. So from this, what should we understand? What we understand that simply by working hard, we cannot be rich. The richness does not come simply by working hard. It comes from something more than this. It comes from the mercy of the Lord. And in this context, there is a very nice verse in this 8th canto, 5th chapter, verse number 47. And I would like to read the purport. It's a very nice purport given by the Prabhupada, which explains this point, that how everything becomes anjasa for a devotee. And this is 8.5.47. So here it says, Kleshu Bhuri Alpa Sarani Karmani Vitlani Va Dehinam Vishyatanam Na Tate Varpidam Fai. So here Prabhupada says in the translation that karmis are always anxious to accumulate wealth for their sense gratification, but for that purpose they must work very hard. Yet even though they work hard, the results are not satisfying. Indeed, sometimes their work results only in frustration. But devotees who have dedicated their lives to the service of the Lord can achieve substantial results without working very hard. These results exceed the devotees' expectations. See such a nice verse, what Ramaji is telling us in this verse, that Klesha Bhuri Alpa Sarani. Klesha means a hardship. Bhuri means very much. Alpa means for very little. And Sarani, good results. So here Brahma is telling that just by working so hard, what happens? We get very little good results. And sometimes we may not get even those good results. And then that leads to the frustration. So that is our situation. But then what happens with the devotees? Then Prabhupada says, but the devotees who have dedicated their lives to the service of the Lord can achieve substantial results without working very hard. Generally in this material world, the philosophy is what? You work hard, you get more results. But one thing we have to remember, along with working hard, we must have the blessings of the Lord. Yashoda Mata, she worked so hard to tie the Lord. But ultimately what happened? It was the blessing of the Lord which worked in the last time. And what Prabhupada says, these results exceed the devotees' expectations. That we won't achieve, we can't imagine how much we are going to get by the mercy of the Lord. And the purport is very nice. This is not purport. What Prabhupada says, please listen. We can practically see how the devotees who have dedicated their lives for the service of the Lord in the Krishna conscious movement are getting immense opportunities for the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead without working very hard. The Krishna conscious movement actually started with only 40 rupees, but now it has more than 40 crores worth of property, and all this opulence has been achieved within 8 to 10 years. So Guru Maharaj always used to say, that where is this business from 40 rupees to 4 billion rupees. Right? And why did it happen? It is simply because of the mercy of the Lord. And did we work very hard? Not me, I am not. Did Prabhupada and his devotees work very hard? No, but still you see everywhere in the world, wherever you go, the temples are coming up, and the temples are really very, very gorgeous temples. So that's what Prabhupada said, practically we can see, practically means our own examples we can see, that how we get substantial results without working hard. No karmi can expect to improve his business so swiftly. And besides that, whatever karmi acquires is temporary and sometimes frustrating. In Krishna conscious, however, everything is encouraging and improving. The Krishna conscious movement is not very popular with the karmis because this movement recommends that one refrain from illicit sex, meat eating, gambling and intoxication. These are the restrictions that karmis very well dislike. Nonetheless, in the presence of so many enemies, this movement is progressing, going forward without impediments. Now finally, this couple of lines are very good. Prabhupada says, if the devotees continue to spread this movement, dedicating life and soul to the lotus feet of Krishna, no one will be able to check it. The movement will go forward without limits. Chant Hare Krishna. the movement will go forward without limits. This is Prabhupada's mercy or his fourth, you can say he is blessing us. So the point, this further explains that how the demigods or the devotees can get the results beyond their expectations. Dhruv Maharaj, he wanted to have the kingdom much greater than his forefather, even Brahmaji. Now how much efforts it required them, and how much more did he do there? He performed some austerities, right? He pleased the Lord. And in the same episode, the one place, the Lord Krishna has been named as Sarv Upaya with means knows. Sarv Upaya means he knows how to adjust every situation. We do not know how to adjust the situation. It's only the Lord who knows how to adjust the situation. Lord knew, in this episode, Lord knew that the demigods should be kept on the tail side. And that's why purposefully he had the mouth of the snake then. It was Lord's arrangement. Right? Lord knew that Vasuki and Garuda cannot stay together. So as soon as the time of journey started, he sent back Garuda, okay, now we disappear. Because Vasuki is going to come in here. Right? As soon as the pot was snatched from Dhanvantari, then Lord said, okay, what to do? Then he said, okay, how to defeat these demons. And he knows that demons are always attracted by the beauty of the woman. Then immediately he took another form. Now, who can do this? Your mind doesn't work like this. And somewhere in the same 8th canto or 7th canto, that Prabhupada says in one of the purport, he said 2 lines purport, but Prabhupada says only Lord is capable of adjusting any situation. We don't have that potential. So in any given situation, good or bad situation, even in good situation, we have to surrender to the Lord. Otherwise, if we face any good situation, we may get a heart attack and not a good situation. Right? So even in the good situation, we don't need to forget the Lord. Right? So, evam surasura gana samadesha kala. That there were demigods and the demons. The 6 things were same. Both the parties, 6 things were same. Phali vikalpa, what the difference is. What was the result? Demigods, they got the nectar. And how did they get the nectar? This was one of the questions of Parikshit Maharaj. In the beginning, he is asking several questions from Shukadeva Goswami. And one of the questions was, how did the demigods get the nectar? So Shukadeva Goswami is concluding, they got the nectar, but they got the nectar very easily. And now the last line he explains, why did they get the nectar very easily? Yad pad pankaj rajah shrayana na daitya. Why did they get the nectar easily? Yad pad pankaj rajah. Because they have taken the shelter of the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord. It's the beauty of the Shukadeva Goswami, the way he speaks, he is not saying that he took the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. He says the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord. And the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord means what? Because so much dust is available in the Vrindavan, the Jagannath Puri, even in this house also, right? But if you take the dust, do we think that we are going to get that much protection from the Lord? No, we will get some protection, but not the protection, not the results. What the demigods got them. So what did the demigod do by which they got this Anjasapur, they got the nectar very easily. Yat pad pankaj rajah. They took the shelter of the dust of the lotus feet. Means, through the episode, they continued to follow the instructions of the Lord. And there are several instances which explains how the demigod continued to follow the Lord and his devotees. And if we reflect upon it, we can understand if they had not followed those instructions, they would have been they would have been in a much more danger. Very first thing, the demigods, when they were in distress, what did they do? They did not go to an astrologer, they did not wail in rain, they did not go to any foreteller, they did not take the shelter of anybody else. What did they do? Simply they approached the authority. Authority was Brahmaji. And Brahmaji did not advise them any quick solution. Generally when we are in distress, we want a quick solution. Right? And quick solution means the demigods, astrologer, foreteller, and again cheating. Right? No true. But Brahmaji said, okay, I cannot do anything for you. First he glorified the Lord, the demigods were listening patiently. Then he went to Shwedipa, then again he spent time glorifying the Lord. Right? And so demigods were listening to all those prayers patiently. Then the Lord appeared, and what was the first instruction of the Lord? What was the first instruction of the Lord? That have a friendship with Bali Maharaj. We can't understand what Lord wants, what is in the mind of the Lord. In one of the episodes, in the 7th canto, when the demigods were in distress because of the Hiranyakashipu, they approached the Lord and they said, my Lord, our house has been taken, we are fear after the houses, we don't have the riches. And what the Lord suggested? Lord said, just run away from your houses. Time is not in your favor. Right? And keep hiding yourself. So when we approach the Lord, we should not think that we will get what we want immediately. Kalam Tava Pratisha. You wait for some time. Time will come when blessings from Krishna will reveal itself. So here in this case, the Lord advised the demigods to have a truce with Bali Maharaj. And who Bali Maharaj? The person who had already killed the brothers and sisters of the demigods by the serpent weapons. And it was so difficult. If suppose someone speaks to us in a harsh words, what happens? We don't want to talk to that person. And imagine suppose someone has killed my brother and sister. Am I going to talk to him and say, can I have friendship with you? I'll share 50% nectar with you. And again, we don't want to see the face of the person. Right? A person has offended us that much. But see the beauty of the demigods. They shook hands with the demons because they wanted to follow the order of the Lord. And again, it's very instructive when the Lord has spoken 3 or 4 verses. Right? A lot of the times we spend time in reciting the prayers and all. But here in this episode, Lord has spoken 3 or 4 verses. And those are so beautiful verses. And one of the verses Lord says that you remain peaceful, remain calm, don't get angry. Lord says, if you remain calm and peaceful, then you can achieve everything. So it was not for the demigods only, it was for us. Lord wanted to instruct us that if we remain calm and peaceful, we can get each and everything. And Lord advised them specifically, don't get angry, don't get upset. And what happened? As we see in the episode, when the time came to get the mouth or tail, Lord advised, okay, come, hold the mouth. Demigods were holding the mouth. Then Lord said, okay, leave the mouth, come to the tail. Demigods said, okay, let's go to the tail. They injured for the tail. When the ocean was churned, right? So many things came out from the ocean. Right? And poison was taken by Shiva. And nobody will take the poison. But poison was taken by Lord Shiva. Then Surabhi cow came, it was taken by saints. Then the horse, Uche Shiva came out. Now Indra wanted to take the horse. But the Lord stopped him. Lord, he could understand the mind of the Lord. And that time again no protest. He was not agitated. And Bali Maharaj took the horse. Lakshmi ji came out. Who took the Lakshmi? No. Vishnu did not take the Lakshmi. Lakshmi came. Lakshmi accepted the Lord. Right? Lakshmi accepted the Lord. And similarly, so many things have been mentioned in this episode which came out from the churning of the ocean. And all those things were gone to the different people. But nowhere it is mentioned that the demigods took anything without the permission of the Lord. And that's what Lord had told them in the beginning. The Lord had told them in the beginning that while churning the ocean, so many things will come out. But don't get tempted by those things then. Stay focused on your objective then. Your objective is to get the nectar. I will get to the nectar, provided you don't give a man shelter. And that's what the demigods did. Right? Things were coming out from the ocean. They were simply standing with the folded hands, waiting for the instruction of the Lord. And when again the Dharmantri Bhagwan came out, he appeared. Immediately the demons, they snatched the nectar powder. And that time, the demigods got morose. And they said, now the pot of the nectar is with them, we can't do anything. But what did they do? When they saw the pot was in the hand of the demons, what did they do? Immediately, again, they took the shirt of the Lord. And then again, Lord said, don't worry. They immediately Lord made the arrangement. And when Mohini came, Mohini was very beautiful, right? Mohini was very beautiful. So nowhere it is mentioned, although it is mentioned that his beauty was so fascinating, so captivating, even the demigods got captivated. But the demigods were not running after Mohini. Because Lord had told them in the beginning itself that Dhira, have peace. And then three things he said in the next verse. He said, lust and greed, specifically three things. That you should not be lusty, you should not be greedy, and you should not be angry. Three things. And throughout the episode we see that they were never lusty, they were never greedy. When Lord was distributing the nectar, they did not say, can I have more? Can I have a little extra? No, whatever was given to them, they were happy. And they were not angry also. When they saw all this drama was going on, that both they churned the ocean and the pot of nectar came out and immediately it was snatched by the demons. Again, they were not angry. They were not angry. They were simply watching. They were simply watching. And again, that one more thing, the Lord appeared in the form of Mohini, right? And the demons, they were captivated by the beauty of the Mohini, and they said, okay, now see, we are all fighting. Now better you do something, you mediate, and you decide who will get the nectar. You share the nectar among everybody. Right? And although she said, no, I am a prostitute, and they said, no, you are joking. I just have a pot. So even that time, the demigods did not protest them. Otherwise, see, if the two parties are putting the same efforts, then both parties should have said, that's how the material world goes. Right? But the spiritual world is different there. The spiritual world is different. So the demigods, they continue. See, Yat Pad Pankaj Raja, Yat Pad Pankaj Raja, Shrayana. Shrayana means they have taken the shelter, the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord. Means what? In this episode we see, throughout the episode, each and every step, the demigods continue to follow the instruction of the Lord and they continue to remain surrendered unto the lotus feet of the Lord. Their chastity was not broken. We may take the shadow of the Lord, but the chastity doesn't last for a very long time. Thus, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is an episode when the Lord lifted the Govardhan Parvat, and in that episode again, it's towards the end, and Lord says, Tasmat Sharnam Mad Goshtam, Madnatham Mad Paridranam, Gopaya Swat Yogena, Soyame Pratpahikaram. So Lord Krishna is telling, Tasmat Mad Sharnam Goshtam. Tasmat means again concluding. Mad Sharnam Goshtam. Goshtam means this Gopasana. He says, all these coward boys and girls, Tasmat Mad Sharanam, they have taken my shelter. and Madnatham. They have accepted me as their Lord. So Gopas and our boys and girls, they did two things. They accepted Lord Krishna as their master. First thing, Tasma Mat Sharma. They went and took the shelter of Lord Krishna. And then they accepted him as his master. And then Krishna says, Mat Parikrama. Since these coward boys and girls have done two things. Mat Sharma, they took my shelter and they accepted me as their master. Now, Mat Parikrama. Now they become my family members. They become my family members. So that's the beauty of taking the shelter of the Lord. So once we become the family member of the Lord, then no wonder everything will become very easy for us. If anybody becomes a servant of the President of India, a servant of the Prime Minister of India, then what is difficult for him? Manata mat parikar, Gopaya swat yogena. Lord Krishna says, I will protect them from my own potency. So, anyway, Prabhuji Mataji, so the point is that from this episode, what we understand that we should continue to do our prescribed duties, but at the same time, we should not ignore Guru Sadhu Sastra. Whatever is spoken by the spiritual master, we must follow. Guru will take us to the Shastras and we should spend some time in studying the scriptures, and then again we should not give up the association of the devotees. And again we should have firm faith. We should have firm faith in the Lord. If we have a firm faith in the Lord, the things will become easier. The things will become easier. We will be able to overcome any kind of danger. Solution we know, but while, see, Lord had told the demigods in the beginning that, okay, you churn the ocean, you will get the nectar, and you will become immortal. But see, when the churning started, and until they got the nectar, how many difficulties they faced? So the shelter should be maintained. Shelter should not be only in the beginning or only just for a while. Shelter must continue to have the continued protection of the Lord. Otherwise, ye yathamam pradhante tam sate bhajanam. Then I avoid in the degree of surrender. And so I think I should stop here now. And thank you very much for your time. And it was really wonderful to have so nice devotees. And I'm sorry I was speaking fast, although Prachakra Prabhu requested me to speak slow. But somehow I couldn't speak slow, so my apologies, Prabhuji Mataji. And if any devotee has got any question or comment, they are welcome. Very quickly, any Prabhuji Mataji has got any comment or want to share the realization, please.
So I explained about the quality of the demigods and the devils. So what's the quality, the mode of goodness or passion or ignorance about those who are denying the form of God? They take shelter only in the Brahma Jyoti. So what do you think about them? Are they above the demigod or what is their quality?
Probably anybody who has taken the shelter of the Lord in any form is certainly better than the demigod. Now the Lord has got a different forms. He has got a personal form as well as an impersonal form. So anybody who has taken the shelter of the Lord, either personal form or impersonal form, is certainly better than the demigod. But we should remember that anybody who takes the impersonal, anybody who takes the shelter of the impersonal feature of the Lord, Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita Klesho Diktaras Tesham, that he will have lot of Kaleshas in him. Right? So that's a short answer for you. Realization for you. You're studying many more times than me. Please go ahead.
Yes, it's my realization.
Any one thing to
This one thing I was thinking that you mentioned about Bali Maharaj and Shukracharya subjective.
So-
The objective was different in case of Bali Maharaj and Shukracharya. Bali Maharaj's objective was to serve the Lord. Right? So Shukracharya's objective was it to protect his disciple or protect his own self?
See, Prabhuji, I have not gone to that far enough. You may say that it may be both, but whatever you say, his objective was not to please the Lord. His objective was not to please the Lord. Whereas Bali Maharaj's objective was to please the Lord. So although at one point of time, it was seen that as if he was in danger, but he was not in danger, that was simply the path of the Lord. And I have read, and I have heard from the devotee that Shukracharya, being a materialistic guru, it was his duty as a part of Varnashrama Dharma to protect his disciple. He knew in advance that this person is going to take away all his opulence. So he was thinking from the materialistic point of view, and the Bali Maharaj, he had completely given up this material conception. That's not
I'm just thinking that if it was just about protecting the disciple, it is not so much of a bad objective.
It's not.
But the thing is, Shukracharya knows it was Vishnu who was going to take away, and he was going to
Yes.
So somewhere I probably in the purport is written because if Bali Maharaj all opulence is taken away, he will be jobless because where he will get the income from.
Yes. Right. Yeah, that's a good point, Prabhu. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's a way, the underlying point is that we cover up things by saying I will be sharing this and that.
Yes, yeah, you're right. But your point is that he knew that this is a Vishnu, and being the spiritual master, he should have allowed his disciple, but he didn't allow it. And probably back in the mind was that I was such an opulent disciple. Now, such an opulent disciple, if the riches are taken away by the Lord, the Lord is not going to give those riches to me, right? Yeah, so you're probably. I never read like that. Thank you very much. Okay, Prabhuji Mate, so thank you so much, Prabhuji, very much. Shri Prabhupada ki, Shri Gurudev ki, Samasta Bhakta Vrinda ki,